And we are live. Good time of day, everyone. So today we're going to have a chat about something that we have not yet talked about. And I mean, it's going to be a new vector, right? Which we did not yet start pursuing or have not started pursuing. So normally we try to be productive and constructive, but sometimes there is time and place for being destructive in our lives. So, surprisingly enough, we're going to share some rich tips on how to fail in life. Let's check it out. So, I'm already failing by being distracted. That's just a snippet of what you are going to get from this rich episode. All right. So, yeah, how's it going, Wahab? So, how's it failing?
Oh, just amazingly,
Nice.
It's
Yeah.
kicking back, relaxing, not
Okay.
chasing ambitions, keeping my dreams in my sleep, and just making sure that they stay there rather than facing them as a reality. And then, just overall keeping it lazy, not really putting that much effort into anything. I just want to
Oh yeah.
sit back, binge all of my shows in one sitting with a huge pile of unhealthy snacks next to me, and
Exactly.
then
Yeah. So
complain that I don't have my goals achieved or desires fulfilled.
that's a very
But
very nice picture. A nice picture of how it's failing. Yeah. So yeah, one of the things I think that comes to mind about this failing, there are many facets, right, to the failure as a term in general. But one of those things which is sort of popular these days, right, in this kind of like a culture where everybody wants to develop and succeed, it is about staying in the comfort zone, right? So that's what kind of will help us failing, right? So that's one of the things. So how can we actually stay in the comfort zone and fail productively?
that is a great question. The best way to stay in the comfort zone is to make sure that you physically don't move as well as mentally. Like,
That's
just
one way.
don't move.
Yeah. Yeah.
Stay very, very still, that everything you now do is minimum effort. Like right now,
Oh yeah.
I'm sitting in my soft, comfy chair. In front of me is my TV screen that, in a click of a button, I can just pop up, watch tens of, like, hundreds of episodes of TV shows, movies, anything.
Exactly.
And then all while at the same time, comfort zone also implies comfort food. So you
Mhm.
just eat healthy, no, no, not eat healthy, eat unhealthy.
Yeah, that's right. So we want to flip everything right now.
Exactly. Pull the Uno reverse card right now. Just
Oh
eat
yeah, big
unhealthy.
time, big time.
Then,
Um,
yeah,
but there's a good example. So it's basically going with what's easy, feels comfortable, doesn't require much effort, and then yeah, that's kind of like honestly one of the default ways how they kind of like nature wants to behave, right? So it wants to kind of like find some sort of most, let's say, like many processes in nature, I should say, want to find the most energy favorable states, so to speak, right?
hmm
So that's what we can kind of apply this broad term to our lives as well, because yeah, that's going to be kind of explicable why we want to kind of like stay on the couch instead of moving, right? So because moving will require some effort, it will require some input of energy and initiative, all those things, right, which basically translate to the higher energy state, right? So, but if we are not moving, then we are in the more energy favorable conformation, so to speak, in a lower energy state, which is more sort of desirable in natural processes, right? And then humans and their processes also belong to the nature, to be honest. So yeah, and then yeah, once we're there in the comfort zone, so that's kind of like one of the ways to fail because and why do we fail in the comfort zone? Because we kind of like don't move, don't develop, we don't try anything new.
Exactly. We take a break essentially from taking a break. So, what we want to do is make sure we stay in this loop where we
Yeah.
just constantly feel drained, unmotivated because of the lack of discipline. What we want to do is take that word discipline and then just throw it out the window. We don't need that right now. We don't like it because that gets us out of our little comfort zone where we really, really enjoy staying in that tiny bubble because everything I have is right next to me. Everything not essentially needed for survival, but
Yeah,
desired. Like all of these short-term pleasures that I get from playing a video game, that I get from watching a TV show, is right there at the palm of my hands. So why would I essentially need to, go work for anything else when I just have the comfort of, life's greatest pleasures right in front of me? Why would I put myself through hardship, through troubling times when I just get to stay still? I
yeah,
want to settle where I am.
exactly. That's a very favorable position, so it's very alluring, I should say. But the danger there is that so we are not going to move far if we keep staying in the comfort zone, right? So, like one of the
Exactly. Yeah.
things is that why we can stay in the comfort zone probably is that we fear the unknown, right? So but in that case we just need to kind of tell ourselves to overcome the fear of this unknown and then get into the unknown. So yeah, what I was doing, for example, if yeah there is this fear of unknown, that kind of like, we're not going to talk about this now, but yeah, I had to deal with that. So yeah, but that was one of the things that kind of like was anchoring me in the comfort zone. So yeah, this is the fear of the unknown. Okay, for example, I can, let's say, be going to the regular gym, right? And that's it. And then I will not, let's say, go to, for instance, the rock climbing gym, right? Because I don't know what's going to happen there. So even if it is potentially good for my development, right? But I was fearing that. And then I was staying in the comfort zone of my, let's say, local gym. And then that's it. That was kind of the apex and the pinnacle of my development, right? Physically. So,
I'm so glad you mentioned fear of the unknown because anything that we don't know what the outcome is going to be,
yeah.
we want to avoid because that gets us out of the comfort zone. That gets us in the place of potential stress, potential danger incoming. Even though if it might not hold that result, we still want to keep that in mind. We want to have the fear in our heads and be like, no, 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 this is going to be too stressful. This is going to be too troubling, because I don't know what's going to happen if I try, like you said, the rock climbing gym. Am I going to get hurt? Am
Yes.
I going to like injure
All.
myself,
Yeah.
fall? Maybe is the equipment going to break? Oh, I don't know. Like anything unknown. So what happens is that fear of the unknown anchors us into that comfort zone. But it's not so much as an anchor, but more of in the cartoons when they're in prison, how they just have this giant steel ball chained to their legs.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Basically picture one of those giant steel balls chained to your leg
Mm,
with the
that's a good
big word
visual.
with fear of the unknown labeled on it. Because the chain's length is only as far as we're willing to go. Normally it's not a really long chain. So it just keeps us in this tiny bubble that we call comfort zone.
Yeah, that's
And
true.
not only that, is that also leads on to avoiding confrontation in any basis, even with yourself. So even
Yeah,
though,
fear and
yeah,
confrontation, those things can go hand in hand.
yeah, exactly. Like now I just want to sit back, relax, not do anything, and then keep doing it over and over again. Where now my habit is essentially no habits. Like I have nothing constructive because why would I need to do that? Should I put stress on myself when I feel tired. I mean, no, I want to take a break from taking a break. And essentially, not holding myself accountable for anything is sort of like a badge that you want to take off of yourself.
Yeah. So yeah, when we talk about the confrontation, it's not necessarily about
Like with others, even.
confronting with some, let's say, enemies, right, or some sort of physical confrontation, right? Sometimes you need to just confront with your tenets, right? So, for example, the tenet might be, okay, well, I have some sort of, I don't know, like wake up schedule, which implies waking up at like 12 p.m. or something on a daily basis. Let's take some kind of like extreme examples, right? And then if I start waking up at 6 a.m., then I don't know. So maybe I'll be kind of afraid of, I don't know, being underslept, for example, right? So, and then at this point, yeah, I'm trying to avoid the confrontation with kind of like myself being underslept, right? I'm trying to avoid the confrontation with the potential fatigue that will emanate from the fact that I have to wake up earlier than, let's say, 12 p.m., for example. So yeah, here is that connection between the like fear and avoidance of the confrontation. So they do go hand in hand, and then you can think about many other examples of like this interplay between the two.
Exactly. It's just thinking about anything that helps improve our habits, whether it's health, whether it's character, whether it's even personality. We don't want to work on that. We just want to like not work at all. And then the best way to do that is to not have any plan when waking up. And even that when we wake up, not even get out of bed, like spend another hour or so just sitting. And a great way that I think is amazing if you want to stay in bed even longer than you're supposed to is just
What about it?
binge on social media, binge on, clickbait videos or
Great
posts
examples.
or
Yeah.
anything. Yeah. Just fall for the clickbait and then let the algorithm understand how to keep you there longer. And what we want to do is keep feeding that, social media algorithm what we get distracted by. And what we want to do is show that since we have no goal, no aspirations, that we just want distractions now. And what better way to do that than to get distracted right before you go to bed? And even better is when you do that when you wake up. That way you're distracted in a sort of loop cycle, and it just gets continuous over and over again.
It is perpetual destruction or distraction that if you let it go out of control, then if you think about that, let's say, we'll use some cliches. For example, you have 24 hours in a day, right? Everybody has that amount of time allocated for the day. Some of that will be spent on the sleeping, right? So this is kind of going to be useful for our recovery and everything necessary. And then we have other hours left over for activities. And then, for example, you can let this vortex of social media and distractions use you for maybe 15 minutes. That's maybe not too bad, right? But eventually it could become easily 1 hour, 2 hours, and then you will have less and less hours to actually live your life in a kind of like more enjoyable, productive manner, if you think about that. And then this can ultimately lead to a big failure, because those small failures, small amounts of distractions become cumulative. Eventually, they can grow bigger and bigger. And then before you know it, that's going to be a very failuresome and dangerous situation.
Exactly. That nice garden we have, we don't want to pull the weeds out. We want to keep all of them there to the point where it essentially kills all of the beautiful plants in that garden.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure if I mentioned this before, but this episode is an Uno reverse card. We're not encouraging these habits, but a great way of understanding how to better improve oneself is to understand the enemy of improvement and to dive
Indeed.
deeper in that aspect. I'm not sure if I
What-
mentioned that before. I'd just like to clarify that
No, no,
now.
no. Yeah, that's all
Yeah.
good. So yeah, we just want to kind of like point out in our experience, because we try to set experiments on ourselves and then see
Mhm.
what kind of is going to destroy us eventually. What's unproductive, unpractical, and things like that. So
Mhm.
yeah, these are kind of just some highlights. Maybe they're random to some extent, but this is something that we have encountered in our lives, and then we disclose the results of our experiments. Yeah. So with this destructiveness, so what I also noticed, just kind of, yeah, like pretty much all the time, right? So that's like in my case a very easy pattern that I may be a prey of, is that not only you are distracted, but you are also undisciplined, right? So, and then being undisciplined can feed the state of being distracted, right? So, for example, let's say I'm undisciplined, and then in terms of my usage of social media, for example, or whatever else it might be, TV, right? Usage of the phone in general, too much of it, then kind of like browsing the internet and so on. You can name your favorite distractions, right? So, and then if I'm not disciplined about managing the distractions, then eventually I'll be distracted more and more. So yeah, being undisciplined, that's like a hugely dangerous way to
Mhm.
help you keep failing.
Exactly. Discipline is the foundation of success. And what we want to do is just like demolishing any building is take down the foundation, just take it all down and watch everything collapse. And
Exactly.
yeah, it's even from my own experiences, like it was, it didn't seem like an instant crash at first, but it was more of a progressive step by step thing. Like over maybe 2 years ago, like I broke my hand, but then it was really easy to just tell myself excuses on
Yeah, does
why
happen.
I shouldn't really continue or like push. What happened was that those excuses started to get blurry and they seemed like reasons now, because reasons are legit. They're real, genuine explanations on why something can't get done, on why something is the way it is.
Oh yeah,
But an excuse is just kind of like an opt out, you know? So genuinely with a broken hand, like I can't go to the gym. So that's like a reason. But then what happened was that I'm like, oh, I can't go to the gym. Now I can't do anything. You know, my legs are still working fine. But I just gave myself that excuse of saying, no, no, no. Stay,
yeah.
rest, don't do anything. Don't tire yourself now. No, no, just stay and rest. And then what happened is that that voice of excuses, I let leak over everywhere else.
Oh
And now
yeah.
I'm like, oh, okay. So you can't use your body now. Don't worry about it. Don't use your mind as well. Let that rot away too. Start binging shows, movies. Even with a broken hand, I still managed to play video games, which is
Oh wow.
something, yeah, like more
Kind of
effort was
goes
put
counter
into,
to those excuses, as a matter of fact. Yeah.
more effort was put into the excuse than trying to seek a better alternative, like learn a new skill or language or just anything else productive. No, we want to go counterproductive. That's the key word.
Yeah.
And then let that go again and again. Now, even though I have a broken hand, doesn't mean, you know, I have to quit on my nutrition, quit on staying healthy. No, let's go that too. What's the point? Like I started to fall down that rabbit hole and loop and just go, now you can't eat healthy. Well, I mean, like you're not exercising, so why eat healthy? You know, just treat yourself now. You need to
Yeah.
soothe the spirits down a bit. And then what
Indeed.
happens is that turned into, oh, why should I even wake up earlier? I have no reason to wake up earlier. Like, I'm just sitting in bed, not doing much, just dozed off and confused, not even counting the days, more of just like letting them go by. And the best way I found to do that was killing time, because time is a finite resource. And I think is one of the rarest ever, if not the rarest resource we have. And what I decided was, you know what, that's not even that rare now. I'll just take it for granted. Let me throw it all away. And a great way to keep that going is staying messy and unorganized. Now, even though like it was a bit harder to clean up with one hand, the other one being like chained down to a cast or whatnot. No, let's just give up and turn everything into a mess. Turn my room into a mess, turn, just everything I can, keep it messy and unorganized. I mean, why do I need it? Why should I continue going when right now I don't essentially have a reason to? And then that kept going and going and going and then multiplying over time. So at first, going from, I can't really do much with a broken hand, what I focused on, what I can't do rather than what I can do. And then just focus on the can't. And then because I just get laser sharp focused on the can't, now I'm too, like, again, killing time. Not focusing on improvements, not focusing on different methods or even trying anything new that I never tried before. Like, just stay down in that rabbit hole.
Okay, so yeah, looks like we kind of can see this cumulative effect of the bad decisions. I think you kind of start with the one, and then it could lead to another, and so on and so on, and then it becomes kind of like a huge snowball or something like that of the things that basically can keep you down, essentially, right? So yeah, that's like a really grim situation in which we can get into due to various reasons, but looks like when you think about this kind of now, there was a way to exit it, right? So you could have, let's say, make things better, right? Make some improvements, right? Even though they could have been incremental ones, right? So, and then, so here we're gonna think about it. Okay, well, we could do better. So another kind of like thing that can keep us in the failing stage is the lack of your self-accountability, right? Because this is something that if we engage self-accountability, it's going to be like a switch that will let us, in my experience, audit this state of our discipline, of our focus, of our diligence, and so on and so on. But if we just don't take accountability into self-accountability into account, then that's it. So we will not kind of holistically look at ourselves, and then this will sort of lead to the propagation of all those bad traits that we have described that help us keep failing. So accountability of yourself is like a big foundation that if you remove it, if you lack the self-accountability, don't hold yourself accountable, then the edifice of your functionality in life is just going down big time.
Yeah, and something I forgot to mention is purely focus on the things you can't control. Focus on them so much and then complain that you can't control it.
That's another one. Yeah, that kind of feeds into the destruction, right? So you get yourself distracted from the problems that you can actually should and can and address and solve. Yeah, well, that's great. And then that contributes to the overall big fail of yours. Yeah. So I'm sure that this list can be much bigger, but these are just some observations from our life experiments that we wanted to share. And we're sure that you found this episode helpful and resonating with your own lives.
Yes, we again want to state that this episode is not advice to follow, rather than I think Sun Tzu said something along the lines of, to beat your enemy, you have to know your enemy so well.
Exactly.
And
Know your enemy.
Exactly. And the enemy of discipline, of proactive habits, is the comfort zone, is being reactive to things we can't control. And we want to get a better understanding of that. And we hope that these experiences may have been able to shed light on your experiences. If you guys have experiences too, please share them in the comments. We'd love to check them out and feature it and follow up again in the following episodes.
Oh yeah, that's very true. And then just to sort of summarize, just like Wahab did, so I would emphasize, I would not be kind of counting those points that can keep you failing, because to be honest, if we look deep down on ourselves, we will see which things that we do are wrong and which ones are good. So it looks like a lot of us do have this intrinsic ability, and you can easily, like very quickly, self-analyze yourself. Okay, am I doing what I'm doing right now? Is it good or bad? Is it leading me somewhere down the positive path or the negative path? So there are not so many options actually. And so about every action that you do, I think that's what I found in my case was true. And that's just based on my own life experimentation. I might be wrong. So again, here are disclaimers. So it's just the sharing of our personal experiences. And also another thing that we kind of just come up with is how those, let's say, bad habits are interwoven, actually, right? So the lack of discipline impacts the lack of focus and so on. So just like you saw from our rundown of the bad traits that can keep you failing. They are connected with one another. So be aware. It's like some sort of booby trap or something. You trip one thing and then kind of the other one hits you.
And you just get this domino effect.
Yeah,
one
the domino effect is there. Yeah. You drop one piece and the other one gets dropped as well. So yeah, think about this analogy. It's like there's some sort of minefield or whatever it might be. Yeah, so those, like, they become kind of like a web, a very dangerous web that you might get into, and then from this web it's going to be quite hard to get out. So here's a warning to some extent. But yeah, what are our sponsors for today? I think, well, yes, so to battle the failures in life, I think you might as well be sponsored by Kron Gracie Jiu-Jitsu, which I think at this point is kind of non-existent. So that's like a historical t-shirt right now, so which can be in the museum. I just thought about that. So sponsored by mental toughness and the fact of staying cool under pressure. Anything else?
I think I got everything down I wanted to mention. So
perfect. Well, to keep getting that wise content from us, please subscribe. And if you want to support us in any manner possible, then we will be grateful to accept your support. All right.
To everyone listening, take care.
Bye, everyone. See you later. And cut.